Ronnie Shalvis here. Sorry I haven't come out with any recent Assassin's Creed parkour tutorials yet. As you can see, we've gotten loaded with a ton of snow, and so the tutorials I was going to do, I won't exactly be able to do with all the snow. It'll make it very difficult. So today, I'm going to give you a tutorial on how to train and continue to do your parkour and free running in the winter with snow, ice, everything. So let's get started. So before you get started, you want to make sure you have some warm clothes, unless it's not super cold out and all you're dealing with is snow, but right now it's pretty cold out, so I got a decent coat and some gloves, and that's just important to have so you don't get frostbite or anything. So our first thing we're going to do, we're going to start doing some warm-up stuff. You get snow in your shoes or gloves. It's not very comfortable, but just deal with it. After you're all warmed up, you can go ahead and get started. With everything you do, you want to make sure you're aware of each surface. The ground you're jumping off of, there could be ice or snow. You don't want to slip, run into the obstacle you're running into, but you also want to make sure the obstacle itself isn't slippery. These handrails are dry, so that's why I took my gloves off, because it's actually grippier to just have my hands by themselves, but if there's snow on them, I'd still be wearing my gloves. Oftentimes, ice and snow can even make your obstacles more of a challenge. So here you can see the snow before this curb. Normally I can walk up right to this handrail and vault it, but here, if I want to avoid stepping on the snow or ice, I have to clear it. So now it provides a perfect opportunity to do a diving Kong vault. So check it out. So something you always want to be aware of when training in winter is you always want to be ready to slip. Even if you don't think you'll slip, at least be cautious of the real possibility that you'll slip, because if you're always in that state, then if you do slip, you know how to recover. Now it's getting kind of hot. Even though it's cold out, I have to take my coat off to kind of cool down a bit. So a lot of people like to also incorporate flips in their training, and that can also be done in winter situations, so I'm going to show you how you can do that. Same thing, you want to always be aware of how slippery the ground is from where you're jumping off of and where you're landing. Those are the two most important things. So here's a basic rail right here that I'm going to do a side flip over. There's some slush and snow up here, so my takeoff, I'm not going to be able to run real fast and punch hard, but if I jump correctly, I can still do it safe enough to do a side flip. So in one of my last videos, you see me actually doing this jump right here where I'm standing on this handrail. I jump across with both feet, precision on top, with both feet slip off like this, and so I end up in a sitting position right here and end up flipping upside down. It's a pretty classic moment. I myself was laughing after it, barely missed my head right here, and that was all because I slipped. When working with handrails or anything you can slip on, you want to make sure that whether your feet are wet or dry, you just want to always be aware of what your feet are like on the surface. So if it's going to be slippery, you know not to just full on hit it with all your momentum, because then your feet will go like that. And so if I'm hopping up onto a rail, you want to be a lot lighter on your feet so there's less chance of slipping, and if you do slip, you're at least ready to hop off. So as I jump up, I just make sure I have control of my movement, and I can go ahead and walk down the rail. But I probably won't do this jump with wet shoes in the snow, because I saw what happened last time, and I'm not about to go through that again. Sometimes you get thirsty while training and you forgot your water bottle, so that's where you use the snow. It provides a source of water for you because it melts in your mouth, turns into water. Let's go. Alright, so here we have a basic cat leap from a handrail to a ledge with another handrail. If I'm lucky, I can get my feet to land on this ledge here. Even though there's ice on it, if I hit it at the right angle, I won't slip. I'll just be able to stick, hop over. But oftentimes cat leaps aren't always like that. Sometimes you have to hit the wall. If your shoes are wet or slippery, you have to be ready to expect your feet to slip and be able to hold it. This wall is actually pretty grippy, so only if my shoes were caked with snow or ice, I wouldn't have to worry about slipping, even if they were wet. But in some cases, you want to always be ready to slip, so you don't want to be leaning too far forward into the cat leap, because if your feet slip, you're going to face plant. So you want to be leaning back just enough where you'll be able to reach your object as you come into it, but if you slip, you're at least coming down into it and not your head forward into it. So as a demonstration, I'll do the cat leap to the wall and then the ledge. Sometimes slippery surfaces just make it too hard. I just couldn't get a grip to do the climb up. Did it! Snow's kind of thick, and that's what made it hard, is my arms wanted to keep slipping off. But you gotta overcome every obstacle. Oftentimes thick snow makes us a great padding, so be sure to incorporate. Oh, that hurt. Just kidding. Just make sure you know the depth of your snow and how you can incorporate it into your training, because it's not always going to be like gymnastics pad thickness, but can at least provide a little bit more than your normal grass amount of padding. So, and there you have it. Parkour training in the winter with a few free running tricks. So have fun training. That's what happens when you slip. Is this heaven? I think this might be heaven. Fluffy clouds jump around.